Welcome back to the Real Energy Startup Program Round 2 video series. In this video, we're going to look at federal requirements. The following federal requirements are discussed in the application. Specifically, there is an expectation to acknowledge these in your application responses to eligibility experience. After applications are submitted and selected for awards, the following federal requirements will come into play. These are common federal requirements that apply to programming in our office. The first federal requirement is the Buy American provision. The Buy American requirement does not apply to non-public infrastructure. For purposes of this guidance, infrastructure should be considered public if it is 1, publicly owned, or 2, privately owned but utilized primarily for a public purpose. Infrastructure should be considered to be utilized primarily for a public purpose if it is privately operated on behalf of the public or is in a place of public accommodation. The Buy America requirement only applies to articles, materials, and supplies that are consumed in, incorporated into, or affixed to an infrastructure project. As such, it does not apply to tools, equipment, and supplies, such as temporary scaffolding brought into the construction site and removed at or before the completion of the infrastructure project, nor does a Buy America preference apply to equipment and furnishings such as movable chairs, desk, and portable computer equipment that are used within the finished infrastructure project, but are not an integral part of the structure or permanently affixed to the infrastructure project. Additionally, you can see a couple other Buy American requirements on here that all iron and steel used in the project is produced in the United States. All manufactured products used in the project are produced in the United States, and all construction materials are manufactured in the United States. There's some more detail with each of those. As you can see, you can pause the screen here, read through that more depth. You can also check out the application instructions for more detail on each of these. And if you have any questions on Buy American or any of the other Flowdown requirements coming up, please feel free to reach out to us at oei@wisconsin.gov. Now, there is a Buy American waiver. The U.S. Department of Energy has issued a guidance on a waiver in support of operational efficiency, small grants, de minimis, and minor components under Build America, Buy America provisions as applied to recipients of the Department of Energy federal financial assistance, which would mean anybody awarded in this grant program. The waiver is intended to ease implementation burdens for US DOE financial assistance recipients so they can focus their efforts on their projects. The US DOE's guidance outlines that eligible projects for the waiver will meet the following requirements. The award or subaward was made from July 28, 2023 through July 28, 2028, and has a total project cost of less than $250,000. Additionally, the OEI will request waiver applicants attest and confirm that implementing organizations are not intentionally splitting projects or taking other actions to keep below the $250,000 threshold, which is specifically prohibited. Davis-Bacon Act and related acts. As you can see here, IIJA is a Davis-Bacon related act, meaning the legislation includes Davis-Bacon type requirements. Specifically, it requires that all laborers and mechanics working on the grant-funded project to be paid prevailing wage set by the federal government. Davis-Bacon applies to grant and match funded portions of this project and applies to all projects regardless of ownership type, e.g. public versus private. Much like Buy America, you can pause here, read more detail. You can look at the slide deck and click on links to read in further detail about this particular act and provide more detail and get the information you need. Now, for Davis-Bacon, the US DOE has contracted with LCP Tracker for Davis-Bacon Act reporting. This software is free to use and allows for certified payroll reports and workforce data to be uploaded and electronically signed at any day, any time. Grant recipients, contractors, and subcontractors will be expected to complete appropriate documentation to obtain access, set up projects, and assign wages and complete training to use the software. Time electronic submissions of weekly certified payrolls through LCP Tracker is part of the project compliance with Davis-Bacon Act. For additional information on LCP Tracker, please click the link on this particular slide. And for any questions, always feel free to reach out. The National Environmental Policy Act. We've discussed and touched on this slightly, but RESP applicants are expected to propose activities and equipment that conform with US DOE's EECBG program blueprints. Blueprint number 1, number 2A, and number 3D. Remember, these are on a couple of slides in here. They're also on the RESP program website. You can look at the blueprints. You can also take a look at Appendix B in the application instructions, and it will go through the allowable activities under NEPA. So the USDOE issued a categorical exclusion for all RESP 2025 eligible activities. Subawardees will complete and submit an environmental screening tool as part of the subaward process for review by OEI. If you are awarded, this particular phase will happen during the onboarding section of a grant project. So no need to worry about that at this particular moment. Just do know that NEPA is part of your project if you are awarded. Additionally, according to the application instructions, projects shall not involve groundbreaking. Applicants are encouraged to review the EST in advance. And for more information, see Appendix B in the application instructions for further details. RESP is also part of the historic preservation requirement for all project activities that involve historical, archaeological, or cultural resources. This includes listed as eligible resources over 50 years old or have cultural significance. A review of the undertaking may be required. However, many energy-related activities have been previously identified that they do not have the potential to cause effects on historic properties, even when historic properties may be present. They are covered by an existing programmatic agreement between the U.S. Department of Energy, the Wisconsin State Historical Preservation Office, and certain state agencies. Applicants are encouraged to review the programmatic agreement that is linked here. And last, I would just like to bring your attention to this resource page right here. We have links to the DOE activities, the OEI map, the applicant metric Excel worksheet again, and the application instructions, all on this resource page, all in one area. As always, if you have any questions about this particular video, about the Rural Energy Startup Program Round 2, or any other questions about any other OEI programs, please feel free to reach out to us at oei@wisconsin.gov. Thank you.